Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lindamood-Bell Academy virtual open house. I am your host and tour guide today. My name is Emily Hoffman, and I am the director of Lindamood-Bell Academy. I've been with Lindamood-Bell Learning Processes since 1997. So for over 27 years, this has been my passion. This has been my profession, and I am ecstatic to be able to talk to you today about our very unique school, the Lindamood-Bell Academy. Let's dive into it. We are an in-person or online school, which basically means we can work with students anywhere. That's remarkable. One of the things I want to share with you is a quote, and you'll be getting a few of these quotes throughout this presentation. I feel it's really important for you to hear what other students say about our instruction in our school and what other parents are saying as well. And so this quote says, "How incredible to have a program that adjusts to your child." This parent continues, "There's not anything else that we've been able to find that can give her the support for her brain along with the curriculum. This is a really unique, incredible program that we are a part of, and we like to think so too. So let me tell you more about that. Our goal as an institution, as a company, and as a school is to primarily enhance or develop the sensory cognitive processing necessary for success in lifelong learning. You're going to hear this phrase multiple times throughout this presentation, sensory cognitive processing. And I'm going to explain that to you in just a moment. So that's our primary goal, to enhance or develop these sensory cognitive processes. The secondary goal is to apply that sensory cognitive processing for success in all content and all curriculum for life. Nancy Bell, our co-founder and CEO, says, "Learning to comprehend oral and written language and decode words is essential, not only for academic success, but also for overall success in life." Given that the cornerstone of our academy, our uniqueness, is the development of sensory cognitive processing, I want to take a few moments and talk you through what those are, what that really means. There are three sensory cognitive functions that underlie student success in learning and ability in learning. One, you might have heard, is phonemic awareness. That is specifically the ability to perceive the identity, number, and sequence of sounds within words. For example, if I said the word PIM, I know that P is first, I is second, is third. That's phonemic awareness, segmenting and then sequencing those sounds in the right order. A secondary sensory cognitive function is called symbol imagery. Some of you might have heard of this as orthographic processing. This is specifically the ability to create mental imagery for the sounds and letters within words. So if I say the word stop, it's a sight word for me. I recognize it immediately. And I also know STOP, and all of those letters in order with the corresponding sound says stop, and I know it immediately. This is something that helps bridge the gap between just sounding out words and also learning to read fluently, as well as helping to spell accurately versus just phonetically. Finally, the third sensory cognitive process is called concept imagery. And this specifically is the ability to create an imaged gestalt or a whole for oral and written language. It's the thing that makes books and audiobooks come to life for us. It's the thing that lets us make a movie in our head for all those wonderful details, as well as the gestalt storyline, whether we're learning text in school or whether we're just simply reading for pleasure. So Nancy Bell says that the sensory input of imagery is a primary sensory cognitive function. And over the course of our history and our practice as an organization of over 35 years, we have found that our instructional experience aligned with Dr. Alan Pavio's general theory of cognition. He calls this the dual coding theory. And here's how it exactly correlates with what we call those sensory cognitive functions. Pavio says imagery includes not only static representations, but also dynamic representations of action sequences and relationships between objects and events. He also goes further to explain that individuals differ in the extent, manner, and efficiency of employment of each of the systems according to their verbal and nonverbal habits and skills. Basically, what he's saying is based on what we've got going on up here and what has been developed already and what needs to be developed, everybody has slightly different processing ability when it comes to those sensory cognitive functions and the ability to dual code or mix that imagery language connection to make it unified. So let's go get deeper into this. So we have two types of imagery. And in Alan Pavio's previous comment, they were listed as static and dynamic. So let's talk about what that really is. The static representations that Pavio was referring to is what we call symbol imagery. It is imagery for sounds and letters within words. So on our example here, you're going to see that our student is picturing S-H-O-R-T. It's the word short. And so he's picturing the identity, number, and order of letters and those sounds to be able to process that word and recall it rapidly. Whereas the dynamic representations of imagery relate to concept imagery. And that is, again, that image whole or gestalt for oral or written language. And that's, again, what makes that movie in our mind when we're hearing information or we're reading information. So to go specifically into a little more detail about symbol imagery, phonological and orthographic imagery for reading and spelling words is also called orthographic memory. And again, it's that piece that allows us to, once we figure out what a word is, to immediately recall it and rapidly decode it, to spell it accurately, to read it more fluently on the page. Whereas concept imagery, again, is that image whole, the movie for what those words actually mean that you're calling out on the page, or the words that are coming in auditorily. They should be creating a movie in your mind's eye. This could relate to following directions. It could relate to a story that you're reading for pleasure. It could relate to a textbook. It relates to a lot of different things. But weak concept imagery, the weakness of having that or not having that movie developed, leads to information where we say, it just went in one ear and out the other, right? You've heard that phrase before. So whether it's oral language or written language, whether it's repeated or presented singularly, it goes in one ear and out the other. And that student then is going to primarily grasp the details, random aspects of this, and maybe factoids, but not get the gestalt, the import of all of that information that they are currently attempting to learn or attempting to receive in some manner. So this diagram right here, it's called a Venn diagram, and it shows how all of these component parts interplay, right? And combine with each other to create learning, to create a reader who's comprehending information. And so reading is an interplay of the component parts with sensory cognitive functions underlying or as a foundation for each of these parts. So our word attack, the ability to sound out those words, relies on some symbol imagery as well as phonological awareness. So they can go station, 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 right? They're sounding it out. The word recognition or symbol imagery, that orthographic memory, allows a student, now that they've decoded that word, to see that word again and go station, S-T-A-T-I-O-N, and they can spell it right away. And then both of those funnel down into contextual reading fluency, where now the student can recognize those words, and you also use the context of all of those words in order to read more fluently. Okay. And then what that leads to overall, what our goal is comprehension. We want that student comprehending what they're reading and what they're listening to. And that's where that concept imagery comes into play, making that movie for information that the student is receiving to be able to comprehend it. And then also critically think with it, draw those inferences, draw those main ideas. You can see how this relates, right, to school content and curriculum, not just pleasure reading, but what are students asked to do every hour, every moment of every day in school? They're asked to learn information, memorize it, hold on to it, use it for a test, critically think about it, expand on it, etc. And that's why these sensory cognitive functions as foundations need to be in place. Otherwise, you can keep going and going with all the repetition and all the repeats and, all of the clarifying of directions. But until that imagery for both static and dynamic representations is solid, our students are still going to struggle. So Lindamood-Bell Academy specifically develops sensory cognitive processing. That is what makes us unique as a school. There's no other school that does this. As we've discussed up till this point, Our goal is to develop that dual coding of imagery and language for sensory cognitive processing. And then what we do is we offer each student instruction where we see strengths and weaknesses specifically to meet that goal, to build their foundations so that they can then take that and start achieving that goal of being a more independent learner. So, for example, some ways that we're using our language to drive that process. We might say, all right, what letters do you picture for the word IP? And the student's looking up, accessing their visual imagery and saying IP, and they're writing those letters down. And that is a fundamental beginning step of learning to connect that imagery language connection for those static representations of imagery or orthographic representations. To develop concept imagery, we might say something along the lines of, what do those words make you picture? So if we're reading something about the Revolutionary War, or we're reading something about photosynthesis, that student receives that information, and then we say, well, what does that make you picture? And the student says, well, I picture plant cells and how they're turning sunlight into energy. Sorry, I'm talking about imagery now. Sunlight into energy and what that does in the cells. And they're making that movie for that complex process in their heads by simply us saying, what do those words make you picture, over and over again, and then guiding that student for what parts create that gestalt imagery that are going to be super important for them to hold on to. So we basically want to show you that sensory cognitive functions and learning content happens kind of on a spectrum, so to speak. So on one end of that spectrum, you have students who might struggle with decoding and only decoding. In other words, they can understand really well when you read it to them, but they can't read it and understand it themselves, or they can't read it for themselves. And so that's where we might be doing work with symbol imagery. But on the opposite side of that spectrum, we've got our students who struggle with comprehension. Again, these students might be able to read it just fine, but they're not able to make that gestalt image to help them comprehend it. Sometimes they may also be somewhere in the middle where they have differences in both of those areas. And so it's up to us to determine where those strengths and weaknesses lie, and then come up with a plan of instruction to meet your students' needs to develop those sensory cognitive foundations, fill in the parts of the spectrum that are not balanced for them, and then get them to those next steps of becoming a more independent learner based on those now improved or developed or enhanced foundations of sensory cognitive processing. So the goal, we're going to start, think of this as a funnel, but going up, right? If our goal at the top is a student being an independent learner, then we have to start at the very base. And so we develop that sensory cognitive processing with the student. As their processing develops, then they're going to start being able to monitor themselves, whether they're accurate or not, or did I make a mistake? Does that sound right? Does that look right with what I'm trying to read? Or did that sound right when I pictured that part of the story? And once they can start monitoring, the next step is to self-correct. That's when they start going, no, that doesn't make sense. It should say this, or no, that doesn't make sense. I need to picture this. And by continually developing that flow, we work students up into becoming more independent learners simply by developing that foundation of sensory cognitive processing. So our curriculum in Lindamood-Bell Academy, we actually have two recognized and proven curriculums that we partner with. One is the Pearson Connexus Learning, and the other one is N2Y's Unique Learning System. And with these curricula, we are offering standards aligned courses. And then as needed throughout the course of instruction, the students can receive accommodations and modifications to allow them further access as their sensory processing is developing to that content that they need to be learning for school. With dynamic content being the focus, we want to ensure that our students are having dynamic learning experiences and that their time with us it's going to be challenging no matter what, but we want it to be as fun as possible too, not just incentivizing it, but also working with the materials that we have to deliver instruction. And so that might mean we have some digital books and resources because we do utilize online curricula. We also do have some opportunity for physical books and materials. There's also some supplemental videos, activities, and project-based learning opportunities combined in either of these different curriculum partners. As we focus on each individual student, it's important to understand our model. Much of what we do, I should say, is one-to-one. We also do offer some small groups, but no matter what type of enrollment a student has, whether it's in small group or one-to-one, our focus is exactly what that student needs at any given time. And so this image right here really shows how a singular student is surrounded by multiple professionals, multiple instructors and leaders in their life, guiding them on their academic journey. So it consists, again, of hands-on and fun interactive qualities with digital activities within our curriculum platform, as well as some hands-on with instruction experts, various different directors and managers of curriculum and instruction, and again, with our two Pearson and unique ULS and 2Y curriculum providers. Our learning model, again, is very, very unique. We individualize everything we do for our students. Our live one-to-one instruction with sensory cognitive processing, as well as our small group, is live online or live in person. It's provided by a team. Each student has a team assigned to them of personal instructors. It is interactive. It is fun. Our students do not work alone. And every student that comes to Lindamood-Bell Academy has a very personalized educational plan or student schedule that's developed specifically to meet their unique needs. We also have recently embarked on a new fitness program because we know that fitness, being active, really strengthens not just the body, but the mind. And so we have partnered with Dr. Rhonda Beeman for Fit to Learn, and it is a lively lunchtime move and groove session. So our famous Dr. B, as we call her, designed a fitness program for our Lindamood-Bell Academy students to blow off steam, improve afternoon attention, reinforce learning, boost creativity, mood, problem solving, retention, and quite simply, have a good time. So I'd like Dr. B to show you a little bit more about what this looks like in action.
Hi, I'm Dr. Rhonda Beeman. I'm the lucky new fitness director for Fit to Learn, a new initiative at Lindamood-Bell designed to help your child put together all the imagery, the language, the comprehension, along with fitness. We're going to provide a recess for your child. Research has shown that when you're moving, you learn better, and that works for children or adults. So we want to provide your child with a chance to have a break at the middle of the day, work out with me, and I can't wait to meet your child and work with them and to have a lot of fun moving our minds and moving our bodies.
So I also want you to know that we've been talking about this is live, online, or in person. And it's important to know that we've done a lot of research with our methodology, both in person as well as online. Our research validates that our live online instruction shows the same results. It's called parity as in-person instruction does. So here's our director of R&D, Paul Worthington, to tell you a little bit more about that.
In all these tests, what we see is that the standard score gains, if you look across there, visually it looks like they are precisely the same for all practical purposes. As it turns out, indeed, we did get comparable progress especially on those measures that are related to decoding. And you can see that the effect sizes were very large.
So live, online, or in person, one of the first things we need to do with you and your student is to do a learning ability evaluation. This is the starting point. We want to do this evaluation because we need to determine your student's unique profile of strengths and weaknesses in learning. And then based on those results, we can then create the program as well as the type of academy enrollment to specifically fit your student's unique needs. Just a very quick example of a summary. We do multiple assessments for reading and the foundational components of reading, including phonemic awareness, as well as symbol imagery, those sensory cognitive processes. We test those foundations right from the start, and then how well those are applied through other activities like decoding words, recognizing sight words, reading fluency, etc. We also test various measures of vocabulary and reading comprehension as well. And from all of that, we then get out of a 4-hour comprehensive evaluation, a learning profile that we can then share with you from those standardized assessments in about a 1-hour consultation. Now, that happens very quickly. Within about 1 to 3 days after that testing is done, we're going to have results for you. We want you to not have to hesitate and lose more time of your students struggling. And one of our colleagues in elementary school principal that we've worked with off and on over the years says it's like getting a fingerprint of your child's unique learning profile. That's exactly what it is. And then you get the custom solutions based on those results. I'd like to take you through a little bit more of a day in the life of an Academy student. I've already talked about Fit to Learn. I've got this snappy little poster board right behind me advertising that as well in all of our locations and on our website. But we also have a dynamic lunch schedule. We also have dynamic group activities and monthly enrichment. Perhaps it's based on the holidays that happen during that month or some specific awareness. I mean, who doesn't love National Pie Awareness Day, right? Something like that. We've got a lot of these different opportunities that provide socialization for our students that are enrolled with us, even if our instruction focuses on one-to-one and a lot of small groups. So our engaging staff and instructors make learning really fun. We have lots of different formats, whether it's groups, one-to-one, hands-on and digital learning, and virtual and in-person learning. We have breaks for snack and lunch. And let's face it, everybody needs a stretch break or a small brief brain break every now and then, especially when you're doing 4 to 6 hours, 7 hours of the hardest thing for you. So we've got some fun, engaging break times planned for that too. Further, we can do games live in person, but never discount the ability to do games online as well. We've got a host of digital resources to play a quick game of tic-tac-toe or assemble a quick puzzle or do a quick game of checkers or start a game of checkers, because as we know, quick checkers might not be quick. But we can incorporate those into the learning environment while still not wasting time with the overall goal of getting that instruction in there and developing those processes and applying that over to curriculum for your students. We have lots of different opportunities for enrichment of peer-to-peer interactions. One of those is peer cheers, right? We want our students to have opportunities to recognize each other as they're making friends and as they're recognizing each student's impact in our school environment. We also have things like magic learning moments where we're acknowledging seemingly small steps for the student that we want to make a big deal out of because we want to encourage them to keep pushing forward. Further, we offer additional exciting opportunities like, and by the way, these are school-wide activities like a science fair. We do that in the springtime. We offer various school rallies throughout the point of the year, culminating in our end-of-year rally and graduation celebration. We have a yearbook. Guys, we get to do yearbooks together. It's so fun. We've got spirit weeks twice a year. We have a career day, a multicultural day, and every single week we have wacky Wednesdays. It's time to dress up, get wacky, show your school spirit every single Wednesday. There are lots of opportunities for the fun aspects and the social aspects that add extra value to an already invaluable and unique learning program for your student. One of our students says, Academy has helped me because I know so much more about science, social studies, math, and language arts. I didn't get that at my old school. Now, when my mom asks me questions at home, I can answer her so quickly. I didn't really know a lot before, and now I basically know everything. I'm so smart now. This touches my heart tremendously. Lindamood-Bell has helped me so much, and I would like to thank Lindamood-Bell and all my teachers who helped me this year. I feel like this is the best school ever. I mean, if that doesn't warm your heart, I don't know what does. Another Academy student says, before I came to Lindamood-Bell, I struggled a lot with math and reading. I felt like a wannabe and no one would pair with me on projects. I felt like I didn't learn with the other kids. When I came to Lindamood-Bell, I felt like everyone here knew me and acknowledged how hard I worked during Seeing Stars. That's our program that develops that symbol imagery. My second year at Academy, I'm learning how smart I actually am because now I participate in class discussions, read out loud, and learn new material. This change in my brain, key, has made me a better scholar. I mean, this is why I do what I do. And this is why I'm so excited to share what I do with you. Another student says, I love it here because the teachers are caring, the workload is balanced, the environment isn't too distracting, and the curriculum actually teaches you. It's the methodology combined with that curriculum that helps our students raise up in that funnel to become those independent learners. So who are Lindamood-Bell Academy students? Where do our students come from? They come from everywhere, from all walks of life, from all different backgrounds and experiences. We serve students who want to enhance their learning skills and students who thrive in a non-traditional learning environment. For example, students who might be challenged with the following: below grade level reading skills, those diagnosed with learning disabilities, maybe students diagnosed with dyslexia. They also are students who might be showing a weakness in language comprehension, memory, or executive functions. Perhaps high-functioning autism has been a diagnosis, or ADHD or other attention impairments. All of these are students who come to Lindamood-Bell, but we also get some students who don't have any pre-recognized or diagnosed challenges. We just know maybe there's something that could be a little bit tighter for them. And so that's why for some students, we develop sensory cognitive processing, and for others, we enhance it. But either way, we take those foundations and directly apply them over to curriculum, which all day, every day, by the way, every single hour, every single lesson, it's getting applied. That's not something you get in a traditional school environment. So you might be saying, Emily, you've been talking with us for a little while, but how do we do this? How do we get more information? I've got your answer right here, folks. You can contact us and call us immediately. We would love to talk to you about your student and determine how we might be a right fit. Here's one of our contact phone numbers for US calls. You're also welcome to go to the LindamoodBellAcademy.com website at any period of time. Put that in your computer, click the button, fill out the form that's there for engagement with us. We will be able to give you a call right back. We've got people literally standing by to give you a call. And we can also use that Q&A button down below to provide some further questions and answers as soon as I'm done presenting with this content. But let's say you say, Emily, okay, I already know this is what I want to do. I already know what I need to do for my child. And so you might be ready to sign up for an evaluation right now. So the evaluation, again, it's going to be an identification of strengths and weaknesses with a standardized academic and a standardized battery of academic and literacy tests, as well as the consultation where we explain those results. It's about a 4-hour assessment followed by about an hour consultation 1 to 3 days later. You can actually just go right to our Academy website or go to this link, lindamoodbell.com/evaluation. That's going to take you right there to the form where you fill out the evaluation form, and we're going to get you scheduled immediately. Okay. And again, if you have additional questions, that Q&A button down below, I've got a team of individuals, and as soon as I'm done presenting, and myself standing by ready to answer some questions for you. But what we also want to let you know is that when you join us now, or at least by October 25th, you get a special bonus promotion right now that we're offering 15% off of our final month of tuition. That would be the month of May, because our school year runs the end of August through the end of May. So 15% off that final month of May when you enroll by October 25th. The remainder of the school year must be scheduled at that time to receive that benefit. But again, the way that you get started is simply by reaching out to us at the phone number, at the website that I've got right here, by email, lindamoodbell.com/evaluation. All of those are going to get you immediately to someone, to an informational page, and then to someone who's going to give you a call right back to talk about scheduling, to talk about further information. And I'm, of course, here standing by with my team to answer some Q&A and we can get started with that. Again, my name is Emily Hoffman. I'm the director of Lindamood-Bell Academy, and it has been a pleasure being able to present just a glimpse of the unique instruction that we offer, developing those sensory cognitive foundations as a foundation for more independent learning for life for your student. Get in touch with us now. We're ready to answer your questions. We look forward to communicating further with you very, very soon.